old school. Hello and welcome back to A Gates Offense. My name's Sai, this is JK, and we're going to bring you UFC 296 Edwards versus Covington ATF breakdown. So this is going to be quite exciting. This is going to be the last event of the year, so one that we've all been looking forward to for a minute now, and you guys are pretty excited to be watching it this weekend on the couch with the guys in the house. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and make sure you do come back on this weekend, Saturday night. It's going to be 3 MO3 in the UK. The boys are going to be in the house watching the whole ATF, the whole UFC main card event, and give them the whole breakdown as well as it all unfolds before your eyes. So the goal of that is not to watch alone, watch along.
Absolutely.
Initial thoughts, JK, on this card, this fight. Do you reckon? I mean, I want to rate respectively like what you think it would be out of 10. How do you think it is? Because it's a pretty banger.
Well, we put a tweet out last night, basically asking the viewers how they rated the card out of 10. We had a lot of 9s. We had some 8.5s. Yeah, personally, I'd probably give it an 8.7 or something like that, perhaps. So that would be my my take on it. George Murray says, evening ATF crew and
Yes,
crew
George,
dem.
welcome in.
And he says FTNT Sports, it shouldn't be a pay-per-view here in British for the British fans. And yeah, that's right. We have got to pay for it over here. We can't complain too much because, of course, our neighbours from across the pond have got to pay for pay-per-views on a regular basis, you see. So, yeah. But, no, solid card. Really excited for it. Can't wait to get it into it. And, of course, the watch-along is going to be absolute fire as well. We've got some new additions coming your way. We'll be playing a special game for you guys where you guys can win some prizes. And we've never done that before, ever. And we've decided to, because it's Christmas time, we thought we'll give out some gifts. So you got to make sure that you have got the notifications bell rang on the channel and you stay tuned and be in tuned with this weekend's watch along. But okay,
100%.
On with the breakdown then.
Yeah, we must. We're going to start from the bottom of the card and work our way up.
Yes, start from the very bottom.
All right, let's go down.
Kicking things off.
Really good, juicy,
Clear the
decent
chat.
fights to come.
Bosh.
All right, so we're going to get straight into it. If you guys have any opinions and things you want to chime in with comments, then please do. We'll be reading them out in between the breakdowns. This is the show where we don't tell you what to think, but we teach you a little bit more about how to think. So we'll go through each of the fights in the card from bottom to top, and we'll give our comments, and we'll also share yours. So, and then we'll look at how they compare in terms of the gauges that we have designed to see where the advantages lie within the bout. So, yeah, love to hear your opinions. Get in the chats, and we'll get them on. So first fight up, we're talking about Vicente Luque versus Ian Machado Garry. Now in the red corner, you got 22-9-1, and Ian Garry in the blue corner, who's undefeated with 13 wins. Ireland versus US. I mean, to be honest, if we're looking directly at this, you're not seeing huge disadvantages other than the height. But reach is relatively is pretty much the same. But he's looking at Ian Garry being about
leg
4
reach,
inches
as you can
power.
see there for Ian Garry, and of course, yeah, like you said, he's coming in undefeated. The two have trained together before. That's one to add in there.
Yep.
Luque, of course, had a bit of a tough run last year. Came back and. He had a good showing against Rafael dos Anjos. Bit of a back and forth battle there on the feet and on the ground. This time, of course, he's against a bit of a wide stance striker in Ian Garry, who had a terrific performance against Neil Magny last time out. And the Magny fight, I felt like he should have finished. Right, it was in the grasp of his hand, and it was probably one of his best performances as of yet. However, going into this weekend, and you've got the pressure of the fact that he's trained with the guy before. He's also got the pressure from social media and everything that's been going on with him and his wife, and the fact that his wife people have found out that she wrote a book about how to be a wag. So look, it's kind of Ian Garry against the world this weekend. And I feel like, all of these fights this weekend's card are very, it's hard to anticipate, really. Like, this could be fight of the night easy, I think.
Yeah, which what makes the card really good, to be honest. It's a powerful card for me. I think it's up there closer to 9 myself to give it a ranking, largely because it might not be like the most anticipated fights of the year on there. But the stylistically, the matchups of each guy from the red to the blue corner is just beautifully done. I think, like you mentioned with Ian Garry, he's someone who does fight particularly long, reminiscent of, I guess, a bit of a Wonderboy Thompson, who we'll also see later on in the card if you like. And I do think that match between Vicente Luque and himself could probably have a similar kind of, could play out a very similar way. I mean, you're going to have Ian Garry playing long at distance and Luque trying to close the distance and get inside. Maybe even use some wrestling, which we hadn't seen much of before the RDA fight, in fact. But really quickly, in terms of some of the advantages you reckon are going to be happening here, if we look at striking, who's going to favour from it being standing and who's going to be favourite from it hitting the ground?
Oh, if favour standing is Ian Garry all day.
Longer weapons, right?
Yeah, it's just his movement as well is pretty crisp. The way he's able to peel off at angles, uses his teep kicks effectively, uses that kick off the front leg very well as well. So, if he's able to just kind of avoid the cage, circle out, keep maintaining centre, and then I think he can really do damage on the feet. We saw how damaging those leg kicks were against Neil Magny. Now, okay, you granted Neil Magny a lot of skinnier legs, an easier target, should you say. I think Luque is going to come in with a bit more of a Muay Thai base.
Sounds quite tall, Luque, though, doesn't he? So
yeah,
I mean, you can throw a leg kick, but you could potentially be in his punching range, and that reach similarity is what's going to favour him massively. You could have Ian Garry coming in thinking he's the taller, longer guy. He is taller for sure, but it's deceptive when you realise the arm span of these guys is actually pretty much the same.
Yeah, and what's also quite impressive about Luque is that within his 22 wins, he's got 11 by knockout and 8 by submission. So look, he can get the job done, knocking out with the KO as well. So it's not to say that Luque's not going to be dangerous on the feet. I think he is going to be dangerous on the feet. It's just who's going to utilise their weapons the best, really. And yeah, like you said, it is just distance against sort of close-knit range style of striking.
And my question then would be, in terms of knockout ability, are we going to see, it's likely to go to distance, I think, from the way it's looking.
Most likely. However, I will throw out a bit of a wild prediction for this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I mean, first of all, welcoming in Tone to the chat and welcoming Breezy. I see you there. Tone saying Vicente Luque, second round knockouts as TKO. Garry gets hit in his fights, especially coming in with all this going on. I think he rushes in fighting with anger, trying to prove something, and gets slept. And look, I think that's a solid prediction, really. Tone, well done. I think that's good.
I think it's strong.
I personally think he's going to stun Garry on the feet, finish him off with a sub. That'll be my guess. I think he's going to submit in Garry in this. Look, I feel for Luque because at one point he was on a 4-fight win streak. As I said it this past weekend, he was looking solid and he was knocking on the door, potentially getting himself into title contention. Then he ran into Bilal Muhammad, who kind of wrestled his way to a decision. And then the Jeff Neal fight, I don't know what was going on in his head during that fight, but Jeff Neal just completely put him on blast.
Yeah.
There was talks of him, he had like a bleed to the brain after that fight or something dodgy like that. But it was good to see him back against RDA, back to his usual self. So, if we can see that Luque before the Bilal Muhammad fight, then I think Ian Garry's going to have a rough one.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think opposite, actually. I'll probably go the other corner, largely just because I've been frustrated with Ian Garry before, who's, not Ian Garry, sorry, Luque before, who's actually just, I've noticed him going to the octagon, have a great fight to be for what it's worth. But my issue is just in the fact that he doesn't really adapt too much. He has a game plan, he kind of sticks to it. And I've been quite frustrated at asking him to have different entries, and obviously can't even from my side. But I just wish that he had a bit more, and I feel like there might be some frustration once again in this one. And after coming off a knockout like he did against Jeff Neal, you don't usually come back the same. It was impressive to see him up against RDA, but yeah, he wasn't the same. He was different. He showed some new shades in that one, which was good. But let's get the gauges up real quickly then, and let's have a look at what happens when we take these two fighters and put them next to each other.
Absolutely.
So, striking wise, this is actually harder than I thought it would be.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is for a lot of reasons. Purely because if we look at the knockouts that Ian Garry has, he's got 7 knockouts in 13 wins, which is pretty impressive. Whereas of course Luque's got 11 there. So, but I think who's going to be the most effective? It will probably be Ian Garry on the feet.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
striking wise,
he does have range.
He's got using kicks as well.
Yeah, it's just the way he's able to use his range and footwork. I think he can kind of get the job done that way. But I think a lot of this could come down to the mental factor as well. Like we mentioned a second ago, all the pressure as well. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Ian Garry to come out there and make a statement and give like a massive FU to the fans. Really, but he's got to keep his head clean in this.
Yeah, he also
wants to do well.
I find him to be. I don't know. He's a professional athlete.
He is, but he's also like a child at the same time. Do you know what I mean? That's that's my opinion.
He's really feeding into the hype algorithms of the game, and that's
he is, which is good. Absolutely.
What's George Mary saying here?
But George says, with them both being training partners, they can gauge how each other's movement is, but honestly think Garry wins via decision, to be honest. I mean, we could see a very tentative fight because of that, to be honest. I wouldn't rule that out there, and maybe Garry is able to stay safe throughout the duration, not hit the ground at all, stay away from the clinch battles, or maybe be in the clinch battles. Of course, his height probably might favour him in a lot of those scenarios, and just stay on the feet, picking them apart. So I wouldn't be mad about it,
Yeah, look, it's all a possibility. I think he gets a striking nonetheless, and I imagine that's just because grappling would then go to...
Luque, without a doubt. Luque, Breezy wanted to know, how do you do the heart thing? I mean, it's magic, pure magic over here. That's all I'm going to say.
Show him what happens when you give him peace.
Does that work as well? George saying Sai is trying to riz his own camera.
Riz my own camera?
Yeah, apparently.
What does that mean? Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah. But he's not Riz Master. Do you know what? Riz is actually going in the dictionary, I heard.
Is it actually?
It got word of the year.
But it's short for charisma, which is already in the dictionary. Urban Dictionary, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, but maybe it'll come under the shorts.
No, that's
I don't know.
short from, it's like derived from.
George says, who do you find more annoying, Colby or Bilal? They both talk a lot of BS, just crotch sniff and hot. Do you know what? That's a hard one to deteriorate, to be honest. George, maybe we will answer that a little bit later. Breezy said, is the hate from all the recent media coverage he's had, though? Because I remember most people were hyping him up. He's an excellent talent. We can't forget that. And that's true, Breezy. Yeah, that is 100% true. I'm completely with you on that. I think he is a phenomenal mixed martial artist, is Ian Garry. But yeah, people do feed into just, I guess, the things that they find annoying about Ian Garry. It is true.
Yeah.
But
it's just so easy to target as well at the moment.
Yeah. As for power...
Yeah, cool. We're getting...
guys, help us with power.
Well, if we look at what we got...
Speed, I want to go for Ian Garry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a lot quicker on the feet.
Speed, I'll
be a bit quicker with his
power,
hands.
I kind of want to go towards Ian Garry with power once again. Instead of like average fight time is more than, and he's got more knockouts. So we can just do this based on paper. Average fight time is 11 minutes and to 10 minutes in the red corner. And knockouts, 54% over Luque's 48%. Luque does tend to go to the distance. He's just tough, Luque.
Yeah.
He's tough.
Oh, he's very tough. And he's very durable at that as well.
That's the word I'm looking for. Durable. So for that reason, I'd probably go power on Ian Garry's side, personally.
Yeah. But I'd probably give cardio to Luque, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in there with a lot of dogs in the past. A couple of 5-round fights, and we've seen that from him. Whereas Ian Garry, we're yet to see him pass like a 5-round fight. But of course, this one's scheduled for 3. So whoever can utilise it best across 3, I guess. My guess would still be Luque.
Yep. What are you guys thinking? Happy with that? Would you agree? Also, what are you guys saying in the chats? Does that add up? Does that make sense? For power, says Breezy, he thinks V for power. Okay. For,
yeah. Luque for power. Then he's saying cardio. Neither of them are really known for it. Garry was effed at the end of the last fight, and Luque has looked worn, but not quite as bad. Yeah, I guess, you got to play into some of the damaging aspects. Of course, if you look at Luque and that Jeff Neal fight, he was getting tagged left, right, and centre. That's going to wear on you massively. Saying he's booking Luque all day. Smash a like on the video, guys.
Luque, hey?
Tone says, I really don't think Garry has much power. If he did, you would think he would have took out Neil Magny. That's very true. That's a very good point there. He had him damaged with the leg kicks. He had him up against the cage several times. Didn't really land the killer blow. I think perhaps Magny was quite good with his blocking.
Yeah, I would have said Neil Magny doesn't often get knocked out largely because he's so...
Yeah, he's durable. He's a cardio machine as well. So
yeah, you kind of would have wished it to happen there. Although he did just play with his food that fight.
Yeah. But there we have it. We've got Luque, Ian Garry favouring everything on the Gage's side. But who will you pick on the night? That is the question. Personally, yeah, like I said earlier, I'm going with sub for Vicente Luque.
Vicente Luque sub. All right, let's get into the next one on the card and see what's up.
All right.
Second fight in. We're looking in the lightweight division. Tony Ferguson versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett.
Oh, man. Do you know what? This fight, having seen a bit of a build-up from this, both guys look incredible shape. I think we could see the best Tony Ferguson we've seen in quite a while.
Is that hard?
It's quite hard in a lot of ways because I felt like he's done quite well in those losses that he's had. So that speaks quite volumes in itself. Against a Paddy Pimblett, who looks in the best shape we've ever seen him in. Of course, he's kind of stuck to his diet a little bit and been a good boy and not blown up. And because of that, he's looked ripped. Huh?
He's not doing too much of that now, is he?
No.
Blown up.
So, he's really got that mindset going now, which is very intriguing to see. Paddy reckons it's a win. It's a lose-lose fight for him.
Yeah.
Because if he wins, people are just going to say it was against a withered Tony Ferguson who's completely fallen off and is done. So that'll be the excuse there. And if he loses, it'll be like, well, he was never going to be a fighter to break the top 15. The questions I am a bit concerned about with Tony Ferguson is, of course, the training with David Goggins. A lot of people have been saying in this week or the last 2 weeks or so that Tony didn't really need to train with David Goggins because he had such solid work ethic anyway, and he's incredibly tough. But I think he's working with David Goggins perhaps just, to be even tougher in a way, I guess. Maybe there's something in the mindset there to tap into,
A quick question for me, though. Have you seen a different Tony Ferguson over his recent losses as well? Have you seen him really come out, do anything differently? Or is it him really trying the same old tricks that evidently have not been working?
He's kind of the tricks, but I think he's also been very unfortunate when you look at those losses. The Bobby Green fight, I think he was doing quite well on the feet until that eye poke happened. Then he started to be a little bit tentative with his strikes. So I think that put him down a little bit there. The Nate Diaz fight, I think he was doing quite well as well.
Yeah.
Just got caught with the guillotine.
Yeah, true.
The Beneil Dari, the Michael Chandler fight before that. Again, solid first round, comes out second round, gets caught with a front kick out of nowhere. So
I just tend to think that Tony Ferguson never really has a game plan. He just comes out and he just tries to
be Tony.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's his game plan. Just Fergie it, and it hasn't worked from lately. So I wonder if things can be different this time around. I wonder if it's evident enough to see as well. Can we see him walk out and say this is a different Tony? That's what I'll be interested to find out.
But he's up against a guy. Yeah, okay, he's had 23 fights, but Paddy's got nowhere near the same amount of his experience as Tony Ferguson or most of the guys that Tony's fought in the past. When you look at Bobby Green, Bobby Green was a step down from the previous fight, which was Michael Chandler, right? Or no, sorry, Nate Diaz, right?
Yeah.
But Bobby Green, at that point, still had a lot of fights under his resume, He had over 40 fights still. And a lot of experience in the UFC. So, this fight does make a lot of sense in a lot of ways because it is Paddy's got a name. It's not his fault that he's kind of got a name, but he's at this period in his career. You caught very early on, but it is what it is. And if Paddy wins, then he's off to the races. That's
his name initially was a good name. It's just been dragged through the mud a little bit, but it didn't start on bad origins. No. He had a lot of hype coming in, and look, these are two names going at each other. It's great it's happening. I know we've been trying to gun for the steamroller fight to happen at some point,
which would make sense.
Yeah, but otherwise, look, I'll take it. And stylistically, my question over to you is: if we do see a different Tony come out, what should we be seeing in order to give Paddy Pimblett problems in the blue corner?
It'll be his overall toughness and his ability to shine in every area of the game. I think the clinch game is going to be quite.
You saying he's going to have to weather the storm? Perhaps is Paddy going to bring like something like a tough ground game that he's going to have to weather, and then maybe he finds an opportunity on the other side of that? Or...
Paddy's best chances is going to be from bottom position
on the ground. Yeah,
on the ground.
Really, how that goes as well.
On top, I'm not too sure. I think I'm not sure if Paddy's capable of getting a TKO against Tony Ferguson. To be honest, it would have to be via sub.
Yeah, looking at the wins by side, it's pretty on par, I guess, for some of it. Of course, you're talking about a much greater average fight time in the red corner with Tony Ferguson, who's been really through the storms and the battles. 50%, 30% on that side. Grappling wise, it does favor takedown average is higher for Paddy, of course, and takedown accuracy defense. It's also good for Fergie too. So look, it's going to be interesting while it lasts. I do think that in the stand up, Tony Ferguson can be a bit of a problem for Paddy.
He's going to be unpredictable.
That's the Tony we know. That's the Tony we know. That's without him even bringing anything new into any new.
He's going to be quite unpredictable. Whereas Paddy's going to throw out a jab. He's probably going to try and land a lead left hook and a right uppercut.
Yeah, but he just keeps his chin up there all the time, Paddy, which is
that's
one of the things that worries me.
The ultimate thing we've got to look out for this weekend.
Yeah,
is whether or not Paddy's ironed out those chinks. And not only that, he was kind of swinging against Jared Gordon just from way out and leaving that chin exposed.
Which one?
Huh?
Which chin? Because he's fat. It used to be.
Well, come on, that's a poor joke. Poor joke.
But yeah, you're right. And does he keep it tucked? Is going to be in a striking, in a stand up. Because you do have an unpredictable Tony that could catch you. Let's get over to the gauges and
let's get into some chats. Breezy says, "Isn't Goggins walking out with Tony?" I believe so. I've heard that he's going to be in his corner. That's what I've heard this week or today even. George says Paddy will sub him and Tony won't tap. He'll be going night. Yeah, can see that.
Yep,
can see that. Breezy says, honestly, I reckon Paddy gets KO'd. Oof. Maybe perhaps do a bit of ground and pound from Tony Ferguson. Vintage, maybe vintage.
Knockout is, I don't know. But I do think Tony's going to see some success with the hands. And we've seen, of course, him on the ground with Beneil Dariush. He almost took his leg off. Tony didn't tap.
No.
And he's not the type of guy to do that against Paddy either.
I mean, he tapped against Bobby Green, mind you.
Yeah, true.
Well, I think did he tap or did he go out? I can't remember. Did he go out? I thought if I remember right. I watched it the other day, but
I feel like he did tap, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact of the matter is, I do like the striking on this one to go towards Tony, red corner.
Yeah, for sure. Breeze says he's being close to being caught, and I think Tony is the guy to catch him. He says, yep, Paddy's chin way out there and Tony Style can expose it. I generally believe that. Look, if you goes to the ground, I think Paddy submits and goes to a Paddy decision, but he can get caught. Absolutely.
Yep.
Tony says the circle of emotions with Tony, I just can't continue to pick him, especially when Bobby Green subs him. I think Paddy has a strong ground game, and because of that, I'm picking Paddy first round sub. I mean, yeah, it's just whether or not it's how Paddy gets it to the ground. I think is a bit of a question. You know, if Tony allows him to get to pressure him against the cage, then I think that's where the takedowns are going to come. Pat, Big Fridge is in the house. Yes, Big Fridge. Smash a like on the video, brother. He says Paddy broke his foot in round 1 against Gordon. Paddy's second round sub. Wow. Interesting take there from him. George Murray says Adam Crowell wants Jim Miller at UFC 300 versus the winner of this. Dana agreed and asked for his assistance to text Hunter. Ooh, George Murray dropping knowledge there. That's interesting. I like that.
I'll take that.
I like that a lot. The winner, you say? I mean, yeah, if Paddy wins, I still want him to perhaps fight Vex because I don't think he's ready for a top 15 guy. You could argue it if you beat Tony Ferguson, someone who is a legend, former interim title challenger, went on a devastating record. Then you should fight the top 15 kind of guys. And I think the Frivola fight would kind of make a lot of sense after that. But hey ho.
Yeah, but also I think you should have Tony anyway. I mean, do you reckon Tony would, if Tony loses to Paddy, is he gone or is he go around till 300? I reckon Tony will stick around till 300 if he can.
I hope so. I mean, it makes sense. Daniel's already came out today and said that he wants to stack UFC 300 to the point where the first prelim on the card, you'd be amazed the fact that it's a prelim. Like, you'd be blown away. So that makes a lot of sense.
Do we have the vicinity?
You're going to have Tony Ferguson opening the card, mate. He's banging. So who knows? It's a good shout.
It better be a good card.
One thing I also want to get off my chest as well is mention the fact that I quite like the fact that Ian Garry has taken the heat off of Paddy on this card. Because otherwise, if Ian Garry wasn't on this card, I think Paddy would be getting a lot more stick than what he's getting. Because, of course, the Gordon fight and everything like that.
But we kind of heard his opinions on that as well. I mean, Paddy's come out with a video to say, look, I see why everyone's saying what they're saying. I first couldn't believe it. But, you know, and it shows that he's able to listen. And it shows that he's a humble guy character as well. And to be honest, I think when you're a champion, it's not about winning all the time. It's about showing people how to be humble or how to lose too. Or take an L. And whilst he hasn't done that, he has shown us that side of him, which is decent.
Yeah, grappling, of course, grappling's a hard one. They're both good on the ground, but I'm going to say Paddy purely because he's the younger guy.
I'm just going to say Paddy because he's going to use it more. In this particular fight, the grappling will be Paddy's way of getting the fight, winning, I think. And I feel like for Tony Ferguson, he doesn't necessarily have to use that. So yeah, Paddy makes sense. Power. Paddy power.
You watch. Tony's going to dance him now and blow us all away. You know, power-wise, I'm
trying to think the last person I've seen Tony Ferguson drop.
Neither guy. I mean, the last knockout he got, he TKO'd Donald Cerrone back in 2019.
Fergie, yeah. So,
I mean that's still not.
Been a while.
No, I'll give Tony power. Neither of them. It's very hard to be honest.
Yeah.
Paddy's not really a knockout guy. He was landing some good shots against Jared Gordon. He was winging him. He looked solid. He looked built.
What do you say in the chats? We're giving it to Ferguson, but do you agree? I think so. Speed. Now, we really saw Tony Ferguson against Bobby Green, who was the faster guy for sure, but this is Bobby Green we're talking about. But I don't think Ferguson was that slow.
No, I don't either.
With Paddy, his hands, speed is not great. I tend to find, he's able to do takedowns, he's a problem for fighters because of his physical presence he's able to bring to the octagon. But with his hand speed, I don't find it to be too troublesome. Otherwise, he would use it a little bit more as well. I will go Tony on that one too. And then Tony cardio.
Speed.
I might even end up with there too.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to give cardio to Tony without a doubt.
Yeah, just because, man, he's been
durable and he's got David Goggins on his side. So it's like, all right. Give it because of that. But
stay hard.
Yeah.
All right, so speed puts us on. I kind of, guys in the chats, definitely help us out on this one. What are they saying?
Speed, man. I actually don't know.
I think there might be a bit of an illusion that goes on here, largely because that wingspan of Ferguson. So we didn't actually get the stats on this one, but the reach, he's going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage. Yeah, so he's going to have the longer arms. So what tends to happen?
He's got quite long arms as well.
He does, yeah. He's 73 inches alone. What does tend to happen is when you're crossing distance, the faster distance at the speed you do, it does seem quicker. So I feel like he would seem quicker because he's going to be longer and he's still going to be hitting the target. I'll go Ferguson on that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. On speed, I think that's how it goes.
Ooh, you're 4 for there. Tony has lost speed. Got to give it to the younger guy here. I know. I was thinking the kind of same thing, really. It's quite kind of hard.
When you get older,
speed is the first thing to go, and obviously we'll talk about that in the next fight as well. So, yeah.
Did you see him against Bobby Green though? I mean, Bobby Green was fast, but I was just surprised. I mean, Tony Ferguson wasn't that slow. Drastic.
Yeah, I do think he's not been the same since the Justin Gaethje fight.
No. Fights like that will change you.
Yeah, Breezy says Dana also said Ireland next year and wants to go to other cities like Manchester. Yeah, Dana's a liar. It's not always going to be the outcome, though. No. George says, watch the TNT Sports interview came out today. Oh, yes, there's lots to catch up on. I still need to catch up 2 episodes on Embedded as well. Tony can't even do his signature knee slide anymore. Ooh, good shout. Yeah, maybe the knee's a bit bust up as well.
He's not been the same since that cable trip.
Yeah. But I think if Tony's able to throw some sand at Paddy, then maybe he can blind him a little bit and then catch him off guard.
He's the type of guy to do it.
So,
boogeyman, flick a booger in his eye.
Exactly.
Most likely.
All right, but overall prediction wise,
we could give it to the younger guy if you guys want to as well. But otherwise, it does give the red corner Tony Ferguson the dominant advantages there. But is that how it plays out on the night? There's an X factor, another factor which you can't quite quantify here with what we've got. That could be categorized like maybe grits or determination or maybe just mental health. Maybe some other external factors are you're not in your game on the night. But I will probably on this particular one say Tony does get his first win.
I honestly don't know what to go for in this fight.
It's hard.
Like this has been playing on my mind for weeks on end. It's just so difficult to predict.
Do you know when you're at a traffic light, right? I think I've used this analogy before, and you're waiting for it to go green, and you're just like, now. And you sit there for like ages until it actually changes green. I knew I'll get it, right? That's the record of Tony Ferguson. It's like, he's going to get a win shortly. Now. Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then eventually you're going to be right. So
I kind of want to go Tony just purely on grit, and I don't think it's a grit and a determination that Paddy's seen before in his career yet. Jared Gordon's pretty, pretty gritty himself, but Gordon's not really a massive finisher. And arguably, he won that fight, but I just don't think Paddy's ready for it yet.
Yeah. Do you think in that Gordon fight, Paddy was a bit off, or Gordon was well skilled?
No, I think Gordon was well skilled. I think the fact that the lack of defense that Paddy has lost him the fight. Really. Or should have lost him the fight because it was down to those kind of fine margins. Paddy may have outscored Jared Gordon, but Jared Gordon definitely had the bigger moments. Yeah. I don't know. It was a tough one, but
it's going to be down to who's been doing most of their homework. And look, Paddy does look good now. Guy is ripped and ready for this one. But that's how the gauges look. We'll get into the next fight up on the card, fight 3. Guys, get ready with your comments, chats, and we'll
to be fair, real quick though, Breezy's got a solid point there. He says you watch the speed leave Tony's body in that Justin fight, and I've got to side with you in that in a way. And he says pretty gritty might be my new phrase for people. Well, there you go.
Pretty gritty.
You're welcome.
Take that. Yeah. Just for you. Here you go, Breezy. Have another heart.
Yeah, bosh.
Pow.
There you go.
Take that.
So next up then, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Thompson.
Yep. This is fight 3 on the card. This is welterweight bouts. This is number 5 against your number 6. Now in the red corner at 17 wins, no losses, Guy's a beast. And then on the blue corner, you have 17, 6, and 1. That is for the Wonder Boy Thompson himself.
Yes.
Now, obvious advantages and disadvantages. Height-wise, around the same. Reach-wise, around the same as well. There's no real big differentials there. However, stylistically, massively, I'd say. I mean, you've got a tall, distance, likes to stay pretty fighter in the Wonder Boy Thompson, who fights at range in a bit of a karate stance, bouncing on his heels. And then you got a bit of a Shavkat in the red corner, who's
Shavkat's got a great boxer. He's got great boxing, to be honest. And he was very good against Jeff Neal.
Yeah.
He made it a dirty fight, mind you, and there were moments where Jeff Neal cracked him, I think, later on in the fight, which did make you wonder. We don't normally see too much grappling from him. I know he subbed Neil Magny, but we've not seen him really kind of initiate takedowns and kind of hold people down for longer periods of time. Rear naked choke win against guillotine in his first fight against Alex Oliveira, and then a rear naked choke against Michel Prazeres. Of course, guillotine's a bit of a quick snap type submission. Same with rear naked choke in a way, once you get the back, or you get the opportunity to get the back. So, yeah, he's had some good submission wins, but yeah, we've not really seen too much, I think, wrestling from Shavkat.
No.
Can he employ some, or does he need to employ some against someone like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson this weekend, which is the ultimate question.
When I said the word murderer, I weren't kidding. This guy has not seen a decision before in the UFC in his life.
True.
I'm sure in his life. But the fact of the matter is, he's not gone to a decision. He's not lost in any way, shape, or form either. He either does submissions or he does knockouts. He doesn't really mess around with much more. But in this particular fight, when you've got someone who is evasive, who is difficult to get close to or lay hands on, do you see your first decision potentially? How do you stop Wonderboy Thompson from dancing around the place, basically shut down that movement effectively? And impose your will. That's going to be the question on Shavkat's mind, trainings camp as they go into this. I
think it would have to be a Shavkat. I could probably see a Shavkat knockout personally. Taylor Young's in the house. He says Shavkat submission inbound. He's the future of the division. Yeah, I can pretty much see that as well. Yeah. Rakhmonov next matchup says Breezy, so he's counting out Wonderboy. Taylor Young says Shavkat is my lock of the night. He might retire Wonderboy. Well, I think there's a lot of questions to be answered in this fight. It's whether or not Shavkat can deal with somebody who's a master at utilizing range and has a very kick-orientated style. Because out of everybody in the division, Stephen Thompson's been an anomaly for years. You've got to fight him almost a certain way, or you've got to be a really good wrestler. Yeah. When you look at the guys that he's lost to as of recent, they're small wrestlers in Bilal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns. Well, Gilbert Burns really kind of set the wave. Really, he set the blueprint on how to beat Wonderboy. Before that, the Anthony Pettis knockout was very impressive. Caught Wonderboy off guard because he used the fence to kick off and land that Superman punch, which was, mad to see. Darren Till loss. All right, back and forth striking bout between two guys. Darren Till just had the size advantage in that. Really, got the win there. And then the Woodley fight, which just came down to small little margins in the fight, which kind of got him the win, because it was just kind of it wasn't the most exciting of fights. There wasn't much engaging in there. It was just the little fine little moments. But the Kevin Holland fight though for Wonderboy, I must admit, was probably one of Wonderboy Thompson's most impressive performances.
And it was recent.
And it was quite recently.
So I don't think, when you mentioned about him retiring, I don't know if that will happen back into this fight, given the fact that we saw how he was matched up against Kevin Holland. I think UFC 300 will probably to retire more people than anything.
However, I must add that Kevin Holland's almost the perfect kind of matchup, because
for Shavkat?
No, for Wonderboy, to make Wonderboy look good in a lot of ways, because Holland's quite unpredictable. Excuse me. A lot of that fight was both guys were kind of like striking at range and lunging in back and forth with each other, whereas Shavkat is going to be a lot more tighter, His hands aren't going to be as loose as Kevin Holland's. He's going to be marching forward, and he's going to be kind of trying to seek angles. So he's going to be more technical himself.
Do you think it could have been a different outcome for Kevin Holland should he had continued in chaining his wrestling into his striking? He could have, and he opted not to.
It's just not Kevin Holland.
But he could have. I mean, he was in these scenarios. He could have, but stubbornly.
Kevin Holland is all about putting on entertainment fights and making money.
It was entertaining, though. What a hell of a fight that was. I loved it entirely.
And that's the difference between Kevin Holland and Shavkat. Shavkat, he wants to go in there and he wants to murder you. He wants to take you out.
Yep.
Kevin Holland's not all about that. He's not all about taking you out. He wants to put on a show. So, that's where we're differentiating the two here.
Yeah, and so you're all right, mate. Slowly down.
Okay, no, I know.
Look, yeah, I feel the same thing. I do feel like Shavkat's going to be a bit of a problem in here for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. If we look on the gauges, not the gauges yet, sorry, but if we look at how he finishes his fights, of course, it's either by knockout or submission. And he can take it anywhere. He's not afraid to go to the ground or take it to the ground or do it standing up, but he just blends it so freaking well. It's problematic, and no one's actually figured him out yet. No one's actually been able to solve the Shavkat problem.
No.
So it's going to be a big task, a big ask for someone like Wonderboy Thompson. But as JK rightly said, this is the best kind of Wonderboy Thompson we've seen in a long time. We've not seen a boy like it.
Breezy says Thompson is a journeyman, right? Shavkat definitely a future champ in his current run. I prefer the way he's done it, also compared to the likes of Chimaev. So yeah, it's true. It is that kind of similar level of dominance.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer it to how he's done it in comparison to the likes of Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, but I think the way Chimaev's done it has also been pretty impressive. I always for him.
Talk about yourselves.
you get that. Let's get this chat down so I can see. But yeah, anything else on the chat? So we've got Taylor Young chiming in. What's up, Taylor Young? He says, I think that Holland Wonderboy has a bit of an asterisk. Holland was able to take him down, but chose not to. Yeah, right. That's kind of what was touching on. It's if he had the ability to continue with or chain the wrestling, would it be a different outcome? But the guy was all about entertainment factor, entertainment value. And I was entertained and I wasn't disappointed at all. It's a great fight before it lasted. Breezy says, that's just not following or having a game plan. Still don't believe Kevin's a black belt. Yeah. That's one of the biggest mysteries of the UFC. Hey, that should be a question for the weekend.
Yeah, and Taylor Young says Shavkat also has wheelie cool spin kicks. We are going to ignore Wonderboy is 40. Now, yeah, that is true. Age is the bit of the big factor here that a lot of people are pointing out. And as we alluded to a second ago, speed is the first thing to go with age. And yeah, Stephen Thompson isn't as quick on the feet as he once was. So, you do kind of wonder, is it the night where Shavkat gets the knockout win? And I can kind of potentially see it.
Yep. The odds have picked up on that. Money line suggests that it is more of a Shavkat show. Minus 520 to the underdog, which is Wonderboy with plus 390. So yeah, it's I think what people are taking into the fact, age. Whilst we've seen him have a fantastic performance against Kevin Holland. You can't deny the fact that he is aging. But that kind of puts you in a bit of a pickle, doesn't it? Let's get to those gauges and see how it all matches up. Right, so we're on fight 3. Let's get those boys standing tall. Striking. I'm going to go straight away in with Shavkat on that one because his boxing, as you mentioned, is
he's got great boxing.
It's really good.
Kicking game of Wonderboy, though.
Now I'm stuck. Yeah, you're right.
And it all does depend on. I think if Shavkat does damage, it is going to be when he's got Wonderboy backed up. Essentially, we talk about speed, but I think Wonderboy is still capable of managing distance very well and sliding out away of punches. I think Shavkat's gonna be chasing Wonderboy for the whole fight.
The thing is, you got certain milestones in the UFC. You've got, if you beat Jeff Neal, you got to be a good boxer. If you beat Kevin Holland, you've got to be a good striker. Both these guys have done both.
Yeah.
But
it's one of those where styles makes it entertaining.
On the feet, bear in mind.
Yeah.
And so maybe I would have to sit down with Wonder Boy in this one and say he does get a strike.
But it's fair to say that you give power to Shavkat.
Yeah, that one we can do confidently. Yeah. Grappling, of course, we'll have to go Shavkat too. Speed, we'll go to Shavkat, which is one of the reasons why. Yeah, and then of course cardio on that side. Shavkat never seen a decision.
No,
doesn't need to.
So
would we see a different Shavkat if Wonder Boy drags him into deep waters? Can you call round?
I mean, it's only 3 rounds. Yeah.
For this guy,
there were moments where he did kind of look like he was slowing down a little bit against Jeff Neal. Yeah, whereas Wonder Boy kind of, because he sets the pace almost for the fight.
Yeah.
His cardio kind of trumps all, really. He did have solid cardio. There was a lot of action in that Kevin Holland fight, and I was actually quite impressed by his cardio in that. And that went for 4 rounds. So, yeah, I kind of want to edge it to Wonder Boy. I mean, we've just seen more of Wonder Boy in a lot of ways.
We've seen it. And that takes us to the end of that, I think. So is that siding with what you would expect to happen in that bout as well? I would agree with what it looks like here. I think Shavkat comes out on top of this, more so than Wonder Boy would. Yeah. Although, would you agree?
Well, Taylor Young says, pure striking, you have to go Wonder Boy. But I think Shavkat is just more dangerous. Yeah, true. In terms of knowledge and everything like that, the mileage, the hours that have been put through is Wonder Boy all day. Breezy says, I mean, this could be a freaky fast finish, lads. Boom, Wonder Boy head kick, mate. Take my money. I will go absolutely mad if that happens. If Wonder Boy gets it done, and I will be probably screaming heck of a lot on the camera.
I mean, we all know that shouldn't happen
because everyone's counting Wonder Boy out. So
yeah. No, you're right. That would be pretty sexy. I'll take that.
Wonder Boy's cardio more proven, says Taylor Young, so he kind of agrees with us there. And Raphael's in the house. He says, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Raphael? Smash that like button, buddy. Who have you got taking it in?" The fight between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Let us know in the chats.
Yes, please. If you will.
I believe Shavkat might be the biggest favourite on the card this weekend.
I think he always is. Like every weekend as well.
Distance management, accuracy, and striking experience are all Stephen. So
yeah,
says Taylor Young. So it's very solid there. But yeah, on the night, I'm going for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson decision.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be quite sexy. I wouldn't fuss about that. I can't see that happening. But otherwise, take my hat off to you if it does.
He has got a chin, though, as Shavkat. That's one thing we did learn in that Jeff Neal fight.
Yeah.
He can come forward and take a shot.
Yeah.
But Wonder Boy's capable of putting your lights out with something that you don't see coming.
Is he?
Yeah.
What's his last knockout? It's a while.
It is a while, but he's capable of doing it.
You can catch you, but I don't know, put you out.
Bro putting out Jake Ellenberger back in the day. Robert Whittaker back in the day.
Back in the day, though. They do say power is the last to go, right?
Yeah.
So whilst he's got with age, losing a lot of things, that one not yet is what
kicking power is still there, that's for sure.
Let's get into the co-main.
Cool,
Next,
yes.
Up here.
A rematch.
Yeah, right down the barrel. We've got Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. Now, this fight is looking to be an absolute scrap for the duration. We've seen these guys come together once before. In the red corner, you got your 26-5. And then in the blue corner is 15-6. So a little bit more experience on the Pantoja's side. And of course, these guys, as I just mentioned, they've matched up before. They've been here already. Height-wise, the taller fighter is, of course, the blue corner. That's Royval. And reach-wise, there's not a lot in it. These guys are pretty fairly evenly matched on limb similarities.
This could be very much a back-and-forth scramble on the ground like it was in the first fight. Predominantly. However, I do think that as of recent, Brandon Royval has homed it in a little bit and hasn't been too reckless with things. This is going to be a 5-round fight, of course, and it's going to be for a belt. So maybe we can see it being a little bit more slower on the feet, perhaps. Having said that, that Pantoja Brandon Moreno fight was absolute chaos. You know, that was back and forth and so close, and arguably probably one of the best fights of the year.
Yeah. When you say so, you mean like tentative in the strike?
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe Royval might be a little bit hesitant in even initiating in any kind of clinch scenario or any grappling scenario with Pantoja, having been submitted by him last time out in the second round. You know, the way he was able to get the back and finishing with the rear naked choke was really good. So, and not only that, Pantoja was a step ahead of him every single time in the grappling exchanges.
Yeah.
There was only one instance in the first round where Brandon Royval had Pantoja in any kind of danger, and that was when he was going for the leg lock. Yeah. Sometimes guys will go for a leg locks in order to create scramble to get back to their feet. It looked like Royval was trying to finish him in that exchange.
But Pantoja was really calm, and that's what you get with Pantoja, don't you? You get this kind of this calmness, which is just unfitting for the amount of chaos and aggression he brings to the octagon. It's wild. But then, he in that first fight, in the stand-up, I have to say, it was the leg kicks from Royval I was really impressed with. I wish it kind of continued a little bit longer, but that was something that I think he did quite well.
That's true. Yeah, and it was looking like Royval was the fresher fighter out of the two. Really?
Yeah. On like stand-up output-wise, he was just egging to get going, and the power sat with Pantoja, but the output was definitely there for Royval.
Yeah.
Touched him wherever he could.
And not only that, he kind of fights a lot longer than Pantoja. Pantoja will use a lot of head movement to get inside and will land with kind of boxing in close quarters, whereas Royval's capable of kicking you from distance and lunging forward with shots. So, it's whether or not he can catch Pantoja, though.
That's a big ask, yeah. That's a big ask, whether or not he can. And I think for Pantoja, it's he's not going to be afraid of going to the ground with Royval. He's done it before. Royval's always usually quite good in that area with most of his fights as well. In fact, the whole exchange happened because Brandon went for the takedown, and it was Pantoja who was able to reverse it, and obviously get into that really. I mean, it's inevitable with Pantoja when he hits the ground. It's like he finds the back almost every single time. He's so good
with it.
Incredible. So look, he's great with it. I think in terms of this affair, who wants it standing? Do you reckon it would cancel each other out, or Royval wants it standing?
I think he's got a better chance at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it goes to the ground, it's like, well, I can see Pantoja submitting him. If it's on the feet, I think it's a little bit more evenly contested.
Yep.
So I think, Royval's best chances is to catch him. Not only that, the way that Royval finished Matey Boy last time out,
Schnell?
Not Matt Schnell. Mateus Nicolau was like so impressive. It was a short knee, just as Nicolau was level changing, or was he level changing? No, I think he was going for an overhand right.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like it was just a straight knee off of the front leg, but it wasn't. It was the back leg,
and it wasn't the bone.
Yeah, and like madness. So there's little moments like that which you can see Royval potentially having some success.
Yeah. And I think the reason why that worked so well for Royval is he just he steps into the octagon, he overrides his opponent's senses of, if you're trying to read your opponent, find out what's coming next. He does a lot of feints, a lot of wild movements. Your brain's downloading a lot of data, thinking what's coming, and then he just throws some completely wild in there, like that knee, of course. And he caught Nicolau slipping, really. Zigged when he should have zagged. And he can do that scenario once again. It's a high output pace. I think Pantoja's going to be completely fully aware. He has to remain fully aware. I do think that he's quite calm, Pantoja, so he's not going to bite too much on the feints that Royval keeps throwing him. But for me, I think that's how Royval really excels in his fights. He is biting on. He is seeing a lot of different mixed signals. Quick question for you before you get a chat up as well is with Royval. Do you think this is like it's a deserved matchup to be fighting Pantoja? He just got a win off of Nicolau and Schnell, and this is by far the toughest fight he's some of the toughest opponents he's gone against in the division. He's only lost to Pantoja and Moreno.
I think you could have made the argument before, because I think at the time, I'm not sure if he leapfrogged Nicolau at that time. I'm not kind of sure. I don't think he did. But before that, like, Nicolau was on a bit of a tear. Yeah. So you could have made that argument. Not only that, you also had Kai France was coming off of a loss. Angus is some of you may all know, had been campaigning for Amir Albazi to get the next shot,
right?
Because he's on a 6-fight win streak, and of course coming off a win against Kai France, who was a previous title challenger. So yeah, there was arguments to be made. I don't actually know why Royval. Royval's last 3 wins: Bontorin, split decision, guillotine choke Matt Schnell, and then knocked out Mateus Nicolau in impressive fashion, and got performance and a night bonus. Whereas Albazi, though, okay, he beat Kai France, but that's probably the only
other one
solid win, really. No disrespect to, obviously, the other fighters, Alexandre Costa and Francisco Figueiredo, but, look at those wins that he's had. Malcolm Gordon, submission. So that win streak he's on, 3 submissions and a knockout. So yeah, 4 finishes. Pretty impressive, but I don't know. He's next in line, that's for sure.
Yeah, that much we know. And I guess we've got some exciting contenders in that division we'd like to see move their way up a little bit more as well. Yeah. Kai had his chance, and I
say he's the next contender. He's fighting Brandon Moreno now. Obviously, if you beat Brandon Moreno, you're there anyway. But if you lose, then would Brandon Moreno then get another crack at Pantoja? Difficult when he's lost to him twice. So that's going to be a conversation for later on during the Aftermath show and during the watch along, should it happen. But Breezy at the moment says, I'm just relieved that Figgy Moreno era is over, man. Some new, fresh championship fight. Do I think this will be as good as their era? No. They were great fights. I think Pantoja controls this for a decision. Wow. Okay.
Nicely said, man. That's really well put. Decision. I don't think the decision's mad, but I don't think that's likely here. Not just with the fact that Royval is, he's in firefights, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in firefights. It's going to be exciting, and this is going to be another firefight in the flyweight division. And historically, when you see how those goes, it's not going to be Pantoja's chin, I don't think, but I think Royval's chin can go.
Tony says Pantoja wins. It will be scrappy. Breezy says Pantoja promised it after the Moreno fight.
Makayev gonna,
and he also says Makayev going to be champ. Well, here's the thing, and obviously we'll get into the conversation a little bit later on, but to kind of freshen up the division, if Moreno was to beat Albazi, then that could pave the way for Makayev to get a crack, potentially.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
a lot of these rematchups. I mean, let's be honest. Brandon Moreno, Albazi is probably the first person he's fought that's not been a rematch of some kind in years.
I think Brandon Moreno could end up just being the flyweight Max Holloway.
Yeah,
Really. He would have to beat Albazi, beat someone else in order to get a crack again.
Yeah, largely because we're a little bit bored of these rematches.
Yeah.
Happening. But yeah, another division might come a bit sooner. I got the gauges up. Any more chats?
Not of them. One which we'll read a bit later on because Raphael chimed in about Thompson. Actually, I'll do it now. Nice. He says Thompson's use of the punch is significant rather than it look to merely touch his opponent and then follow up or slide away. He will occasionally spring into the punch with power. And that's very true. That is true. He's got very good straight shots down the middle, but should it be enough against someone like Shavkat is the ultimate question. But as for the gauge then for this kind of main event then, Striking wise, very difficult.
Let's get power down there right now for Pantoja.
Yeah,
I think that's where it would be. And then with striking, Royval's got a lot of output. Royval's, I like how Pantoja sets it up. Pantoja sets up so beautifully.
So he does. And not only that, I would probably give speed to Royval. It was something. I think speed and distance management could be quite key in this fight for him. Just kind of his ability to move quite quickly away from the strikes. One thing I want to add, guys, after this stream, if you're still awake, do check out the stream that myself and Ash did for this fight. It was back when it was Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum, and it was our worst watch along because one, we were ridiculously tired and fatigued, so we were struggling to watch it. And then not only that, the audio was terrible as well. Make sure you should check that out because it's just funny. It's just funny. It's just us, two of us, just trying to get through it all.
I think you sold it, JK.
I've sold it. Yeah, it's all right.
But aside from that, I think if we're gonna talk about who gets on grappling, that's also really hard. I think this is difficult. We could probably just say, right, one each. One you get striking, one you get grappling.
I mean, we'll give grappling to Pantoja purely because he's got the submission winner last time out, and the guy's a monster on the ground. And he was winning those exchanges, so that's a given. That's probably the easiest one.
You think so?
Because
Royval likes to initiate those exchanges.
He's good, he's good. He likes to initiate him. Pantoja's just a step ahead for me. Cardio-wise, though, I'd probably give to Royval.
On the cardio,
yeah.
I think we saw in that fight as well, didn't we? We did see in that fight the first time round he was a little bit gassed.
Because Pantoja was initiating a lot of the grappling exchanges, which made him more tired.
No, I think it was Royval who was.
No,
Pantoja was really was able to turn it around, and well, that was when he's got the sub anyway. That was initiated by Royval to begin with.
Yeah, Pantoja was using a lot more energy.
He was
to stay on top of it than Royval. Obviously, Royval was using a lot of energy to try and get out of position, but I just felt that Royval was just a bit more conditioned in those areas.
Right.
At the time.
So he's still on striking, which is tough.
Man,
who takes it, guys? Who gets the strike on the Martinis too? I could go Royval because in that last fight, I feel like that's when he looked the best. Is when he was able to touch Pantoja, and Pantoja's got a sneaky power though. Like, it's insane.
Yeah,
like, he touches you with power, and all of a sudden your game plan unravels.
I think because they're flyweights and because they're so quick, I think Pantoja's gonna potentially be better at finding the mark.
Yeah.
In close quarters, perhaps, or I don't know. I think Royval can do damage on the feet. Because it's 5 rounds as well. I don't know. It's too hard for me.
It's really tough. If I press striking and it goes to Pantoja, that wouldn't be too bad. If I press and it goes to Royval, I would wonder why.
Who's going to use it best?
Yeah, I'll go with Pantoja in this instance, because his power and his strike is just going to come together really effectively. I think.
To be fair, I think if Pantoja's able to execute takedowns, then I think it will make Pantoja's striking better later on because Royval will be anticipating the takedowns more.
Yep.
And therefore, Pantoja's going to land more. That's my only thought.
Fair enough. People are called for a draw. Yeah.
Although if it is a slow fight and it's tentative on the feet, then maybe perhaps Royval picks it up.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Depends on pace.
And look, I think how I feel like this is going to pan out is it might be a bit tentative to start with. There'll be a lot of feints from Royval, and Pantoja is just going to stay calm and collected as he always does. But he's going to be touching and looking for opportunities and setting traps for Royval. And when he does catch him with power, all of a sudden, Royval's going to be looking to perhaps grapple with him to avoid it. And that is really where Pantoja is going to be lying and waiting for him, I think.
Don't get me wrong, Royval could easily take Pantoja's back in a scramble. It's possible because he is also that good as well. And it could come down to who's able to take the back first.
Yeah.
But
I think that's how it would unravel, personally. But it all starts with that power being the key to unlock the door.
Nolan's in the house.
Defense.
Yes, Nolan.
Nolan Zebra.
He says, "Hey fellas, hope you guys are well. Thanks for the love after my dad's passing. No bother, brother. No, good to know that you're all good and good to see you back. Just hopefully catch you at the weekend." Yes, Nolan, got to be there because we've got a lot happening this weekend for the last pay-per-view, the last card of the year. You've got to be there, and we'll be giving away some prizes for the very first time as well. So you got to make sure you're sticking in for that. We'll explain towards the back end of the breakdown show what that's going to look like, how that's going to go down. So make sure you stick around for that.
Yes.
Breezy says 100% takedown accuracy for Royval. Critical stat, to be fair. That is true. Very, very true. That's it, guys. Give Nolan some love in the chats.
Hello,
Taylor Young says, hope you're all right. Nolan. Draw, says Breezy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Free.
Brandon and Edwards take them belts, says Benji Ramirez. Welcome in, Benji. Smash the like on the video, brother, and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. So they hit that's Benji's predictions. Get more predictions in the chat. Smash that like button. Breezy says, at this weight class, if someone has speed, do they take striking? Thoughts behind this being getting behind the jab, landing it faster could be huge. Good shot from Breezy there. I like that input.
At this weight class, you're not wrong. It's something I was thinking about as well, because speed does unlock a lot in the striking sense. It does, as much as power can too. I think output is something you're going to see from Royval, but just because you have the output of striking doesn't necessarily per se mean that you're going to have the better striking. Yeah, I think it's we got to really look at the kicks, the skill set of your striking as well. I think you're going to see those uppercuts from Pantoja. I reckon you are going to see some setting up as well. But yeah, generally with Royval as well, he's a firefighter, like we mentioned. So he loves bringing the brawls and getting people in those close encounters.
All right, okay, cool. Let's wrap this up then. Let's get into the main event of the weekend between Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. Leon Edwards making his second title defense against Motor Mouth Colby Covington.
Shall we? Red corner, you got Leon Edwards, 21-3-0, 1 no contest. And in the blue corner, you got Colby Covington, who is 17-3-0 as well. So this is the welterweight division, the moment we've been waiting for, the final event fight of the night. And it's going to be for the welterweight belt. So, big differences. I mean, height-wise, you got the taller Leon Edwards. He's going to be taller just by a smidge. It's not going to make a big difference, to be fair. And then in the reach as well, you got 2-inch advantage for Leon Edwards. And that's going to be important for the game plan he's going to want to be implementing here.
Big stuff.
Yeah, with the legs and with the hands. So fundamentally, what you tend to find is you got the striker in Leon Edwards, the kickboxer, who's been able to deny the takedowns from Usman before in his run up to gold. But also he's been able to knock him out with a leg kick as well, which is something few have been able to do. So that up against a wrestler in Covington, who fundamentally has been dominating and molding people in first round to the fifth round with his wrestling. Jorge Masvidal was one of those victims,
yes,
of course, previously in the past.
Now, in an interview with DC the other day, I don't think you guys have seen it, he was talking to Kamaru Usman about this fight. And one thing that Kamaru said, which was quite interesting, really, is that he felt that Colby is going to be relentless with the takedown attempts. He's not going to stop. He's going to keep forward and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. Yep. Which is something that Usman didn't necessarily do with Leon. And the reason for that is because Usman has a lot of confidence and trust in his hands as well. So if he didn't get a takedown, he's willing to obviously peel back, reset, and then start again with the hands.
Right. Which
is completely different to Colby's mentality. Colby, I think, in this fight is going to be constantly on him.
Yeah. He has to.
From the get-go.
He has to. He's got no other way of doing it. And I think that whilst it kind of limits his abilities or his game plan, it kind of strengthens that. It's almost like putting your eggs in all your baskets. You're never really committed to the one, but this is it's all in this one. He's all going to be fully committed to it, and he's the right for people to know about it too. Leon Edwards knows it, but the thing is he still, despite knowing the game plan, knowing what he's going to do, going to be able to stop it. When you're as relentless as Colby Covington, you have ways of getting things done. This fight, for example, which a lot of people would argue shouldn't happen.
Yeah, and Colby, the last TKO win he got on his resume was Tyron Woodley, but Woodley got a rib injury, so that's the reason why he picked up the TKO win there. But prior to that, his last TKO win was against Max Griffin, and that was back in 2016. So, yes. There's not much power in Colby's shots there. We already know what the cage is going to be like with Leon. But yeah, I think it will come to durability and whether or not Leon can prevent takedowns from Colby.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a question. Yeah, he did well against Usman, which, was quite surprising in that second fight. Yeah, right, he used the fence a couple of times, maybe. But he did get the point taken away and still won the fight. However, I think we're all going to kind of fall back on the fact that, Usman's knees haven't been the same. They're really damaged. The fact that Usman has to walk downstairs backwards kind of says a lot. So maybe that could have been a big factor as to why Usman wasn't able to be as effective as he wanted to be with the takedowns. Colby, not going to necessarily have that factor. However, Colby's not fought as much.
No.
He's not been as active.
And when you look here, I've been flicking up just before you guys, as you can see along. Significant strike-wise, yeah, you've got Edwards, naturally, he's looking quite good in the striking department, but grappling, and this is probably where a lot of it comes down to in this particular fight. Takedown average for Colby is 4 times out of what it is in the red corner. And of course, accuracy is pretty strong too. The defense is really going to be coming into its own. Now, we've seen good takedown defense from Leon Edwards. We've seen him have strong takedown defense against Usman, of course, historically. And that is just going to be tested every little bit here in this fight as well against Colby Covington. So it's just going to be an absolute desperation for him to remain standing and just try fight hands whenever he tries to get them together. Colby tries to get them together.
Yeah, the 72% takedown defense was quite surprising for Colby there. Just having a look at the guys who have actually scored takedowns against him. Obviously, Kamaru Usman with once. Woodley scored a takedown against him. RDA scored 3 takedowns against Colby. Don Young Kim scored 2 takedowns against Colby. And that's pretty much it. But for the most part, Colby was able to secure the most takedowns, apart from the Kamaru Usman fight, where he didn't score any at all.
And for Leon Edwards, it wouldn't be many people either. No. I thought it'd be higher, to be honest. His defense, takedown defense, would be higher for Leon Edwards even.
Yeah.
I think it was just Usman.
So Usman scored 5 takedowns in the first fight.
That's really where it's stained the record, right?
Gunnar Nelson scored 3 against him. Donald Cerrone scored 1 against him. Peter Sabata scored 1. Luque scored 2 against him.
Okay.
Usman scored 6 against him in the first time around, even, sorry.
Yeah.
The very first time. So
way back when.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, there's a lot of people who scored takedowns against Leon. Yeah,
okay. And we certainly saw it be a little bit more robust this time around.
But it's got better. That's
that much you can agree. That much we can agree. Now, the odds on this is going to be pretty tight. And we got -148 for Leon Edwards, and then got a +124 for Colby Covington as well in the blue corner. So, yeah, he looks like the favorite, Leon. But it's not crazy for the underdog. That's Colby. I think that's very, very decent odds as well to say that he's in for a strong shot, competitive shot here.
Taylor Young says, aside from pace, I don't really see what Colby brings that Usman didn't. Colby is less durable and physically impressive than Usman. Ooh, really? You think Colby is less durable? Interesting.
He's stubborn, Colby, you tend to find.
Yeah,
really stubborn. I mean, Jorge Masvidal made him take the knee. And he smiled at him and carried on. So, yeah, he's great with that pace. Always forward coming with it. I'll get the gauges up when you get checks. Get those fighters together, shall we? Number 5.
Yeah. Tuto's in the house, by the way. Massive
Tuto?
respects, salutes and respects, ATF crew and fam. Greetings from Italy.
Hello,
Greetings,
mate.
Tuto. Hopefully see you this weekend, brother, for the watch along. We got some prizes to give away, so we'll be revealing the aims of the game later on at the end of this show. So do stay tuned. We're nearly there, but the gauges wise, striking Leon Edwards without a doubt. That's an easy one.
Yep.
Simples.
Grappling.
Yep, easy. Colby grappling all day. Power though. Leon Edwards.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
Right.
Easy.
Leon Edwards gets power.
Speed. Ooh. Leon.
Yeah.
Leon. And then cardio, I'd probably give to Colby.
Colby can have that as well.
Yeah.
So look, it's 2-3. I think that's a decent reflection. It makes sense. I'd agree with the power one as well. Yeah, look, fundamentally, I think it's going to be a stand-up affair, and it favors Leon Edwards. And if it goes to the ground, it, of course, then will favor Colby Covington. Do you reckon it will remain standing?
I think so. I think it might come down to... I think we're going to get a third round finish from Leon. I think that he's going to have to face a lot of takedown attempts from Colby. Colby's very good at kind of shooting for the hips and then sort of trying to take the back and then kind of dragging you down that way. There's a lot of ways that he can get you to the ground. I just think Leon's going to have a good base. Yeah, I think Colby's going to be relentless with it, but I think there's going to be small windows where Leon's going to land big strikes, and that could deter a round, perhaps. Especially if Colby is just literally just hugging you most of the time.
Yeah. And
not being effective, just trying effortlessly to get the takedown. Because he's got to get the takedown, he's got to at least do some damage and got to advance if he wants to take a round. So
I actually think Colby will be he will secure the takedown in the first round, or he's going to try for it for sure early on. I reckon the game plan would be to secure that takedown so he can actually just dominate the exchange.
Yeah.
And then basically have Leon Edwards biting on his feints throughout the fight. He really needs to dominate in the first round in order for it to really kind of control Leon with his hips from there on forth. And I reckon that will be the game plan for him.
I think Leon setting his kicks up is going to be, Leon's very, very quick with his kicks. So I think they're going to be quite a big factor.
Which is why, the first thing Colby's going to do is get in close, not allow him to be at kicking range.
That's very true.
To get straight on in and get him down.
Breezy says Usman was on DC's show and he mentioned the thing Colby has that he didn't is that he will throw and take down, and relentlessly go. It's a good factor because Leon was dominated against Usman multiple times, particularly in that first fight. That is a good point to take away for sure.
Usman was winning that fight. Say first fight, the second fight.
And I do think the second... I keep thinking this. The first title fight, there we go.
That's it,
the second title fight, however, I do feel like the home advantage for Leon played quite a bit of a factor, really. I'd be interested to see how that fight with Usman would go if it was on US soil. Cray's in the house. Yes, Cray.
It's good, Cray.
What's your predictions, brother? Let's see you back in the house. Breezy says speed equals headshot dead. So, mate, if that happens again,
there it is.
If that happens again, and Colby eats a head kick to the dome, I think, oh man, honestly, I don't think Leon would spark him like the same way he did with Usman. I think he will wobble, stagger Colby, and then finish him off with his hands. I think that's how it'll happen. Yes. So yeah, that would be my prediction.
Yeah.
What are you going for?
For me, it's tough. I mean, like I said, I do think it's going to be takedown relentlessly from the very beginning with Colby, and just maul his way through. I think for the narrative, for the UFC, it will be best that belt ends up in Colby's hands. Bloody hell. Do you know what I mean? Colby wins it.
Here's the thing. If Colby wins...
I want it, that's not what I want.
If Colby wins, we're going to get Machado versus Colby.
Yeah.
If that happens, that's the fight I want. Because that's a seller. That's so intriguing. That's crazy. That's a better fight than Makhachev versus Leon Edwards or Makhachev or Colby versus Bilal. I mean, Colby versus Bilal, I think, might sell in a way that I think there'll be a lot of trash talking, and Colby will sell it himself.
And you got Shavkat coming through as well.
Yeah, but Leon versus Bilal, no one wants that. Let's face it. Makhachev versus Leon, not really keen on that one either. So that'll be my take on it.
If Colby walks away with the belt, I think it's just going to be more entertaining for the UFC because it shouldn't happen. He shouldn't have been. This fight shouldn't have been matched up as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be so much stick, and you know what? The backlash kind of makes me a little bit horny. So I'm going with Colby for the upset, but also just the entertainment value.
Breezy says sofa going off the balcony? Question mark. Is that if Colby wins? I mean, yeah. Just the sofa's going to end up in a hedge down below, and then that'll be it.
Yeah.
Someone
I'll come back on Monday
bed.
morning. I'm like, what happened? Oh, now I know who won.
Cray says, I want to back Edwards, of course, but have the gut feeling we may see Colby become champ. Yeah, I mean, look, it was kind of like the thing at the start of the year where it was, or during the year where it was like, it's going to be Sean O'Malley, it's going to be Sean Strickland and Colby Covington all going to get belts. And look, it's almost like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. This is like the last Infinity Stone. Do you know what I mean? So,
it's wild.
And it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Fear from it, run from it. Destiny still arrives. So you never know. Tuto says JK Colby is a harder hitter puncher than Leon. But Leon is a smarter fighter overall, he means.
I hear what you're saying. I actually would say Colby's fair smarter, opinion? Personally. Because it touches and he mixes changing that wrestling so well. But yeah, it's a triple threat. Okay,
so there you go. That's it. Let's head on through to the solo then. Great thoughts and opinions in the chats tonight, and some good predictions overall. Let's talk about them before we wrap up this weekend, because you should definitely make sure that notifications bell are rung on the channel, because you're not going to want to miss the opening few minutes of this weekend's watch along, because we're going to be playing a game with you guys and it's going to include winning some prizes. So if you join on the front end of the watch along, straight at the beginning of the main card, it's going to be 3 a.m. Over here in the UK. Is it 10 p.m. Eastern time and then 7 p.m. Pacific time? Aim of the game, right, is we want to know who's the funniest out of you guys, okay? So whoever has the most funniest comments basically wins. And it's going to be like Cards Against Humanity type scenarios. So we're going to have a lot of scenarios, a lot of statements, and it's going to be up to you guys to think of the most funniest of things. And whoever has the most funniest answers and gets some laughter here on the sofas will be winning points, and points mean prizes.
Yes.
So you've got to make sure you stick around, guys. It's going to be super exciting. We might even have a special guest on in the house as well. Breezy in the chats is going to be in the house. We've got Angus as well, the editor you've seen on the channel before and you've seen in the chats. He's going to be in the house as well. But we also might have somebody else joining us as well. So you've got to make sure
special guest. You
stick around for that. Fingers crossed he's going to still make it. He says he is, but you know, we'll see. He's a busy man, you see. Yeah. Busy man, these fighters. So yeah, make sure you got the notifications bell. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and stay tuned for that, guys.
Yes. Now, this is the first time ATF has actually done something like this.
Yes.
So whilst it's going to be quite exciting, sadly, I will not be around for it. But otherwise, I will be back. And when will this be? On the, for the following week after that, or for the new year. So Saturday, I'm missing the last one of the event, but I have other engagements on Saturday. But make sure you guys are there, tuning in, liking and subscribing. But it's the first time when we were truly able to make this a full-on audience affair as well. So you guys will be playing from the couches, from your sofas at home, along with the whole fight along the event. So the goal is, don't watch alone. Watch along, be part of the community, get right involved and up front and center. So I'll be watching from wherever I am in the world, from shore. But yeah, chiming in through to see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that. No,
Brizzy, it's not Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen will always be here. You know who it is as well. I'm sure you do. I'll see you there at the watch party, says Raphael. Yes, good to see you there, Raphael. All right, nice one, guys. Thanks for your chats as always. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Be good.